Hi my Troublesomes, it's Miracle and welcome back to my Miracle. I'm so happy you guys decided to join me today, and honey, we are doing, actually, no, we're not minding somebody's business today. We're actually talking about the Jeffree Star Artistry palette. Mine just came in the mail this week, and we are also featuring the Extreme Frost in the shade Choking on Ice. And let me tell you something about this palette before we get into it. I actually did all of the swatches yesterday. In fact, I was quite pleased with how I thought it turned out, and what? Lo and behold, my camera decided to unfocus towards the beginning of the palette after I swatched like 3 shades, and there's 18 of them in here. So I was quite annoyed. So I'm doing it again today, and unfortunately my palette is not as beautiful as everybody else's when they do the swatches, but it's okay. We're here for the moment. Okay, so we're gonna live in this moment, and we want to see if my outlook, me being a regular old consumer, is the same as everybody else who received PR and who's getting a nice free palette for everybody to look at. This is the full glory when you open the packaging. Oh my god, it's a nice little number. We have a crushed velvet moment, and we see that it is a violet shade, very nice, and we have some dark undertones going on in there. It is embossed with a nice metal finish, and as you guys can see inside the packaging, Jeffree Star was quite pleased with this little bracer for the palette so that it will not shake in transit. Now, I don't have a means to show you this for my palette now because I actually did the swatching, but it didn't do full justice, which he did say. I had a little bit of cracking in one of the pigments, but it wasn't worth me sending back because it didn't fall out of the pan, and I was able to press it back in place, so that's fine. I will say though that this little cardboard is not too strong, so basically that's like a waste of time. But let's talk about the palette itself. Beautiful crushed velvet undertones is quite a heavy piece, and all of the details and important information are located on the back of the palette. It is also embossed and it is slightly raised for easy reading. And then we're going to open up the palette itself. La la la, glory to us all. It features this nice piece of thick plastic to protect the shades, and also included we have all 18 shades. Now mine is not as beautiful as when it was first opened because, again, I already did the swatching yesterday. I don't know if you can see, but a little bit here you can see where the cracking I was speaking about earlier happened when it did arrive in transit, and you can see the full glory of these shades. In person, it is so much nicer. And something worth noting, yesterday I did see that a lot of the shades were not as ashy on skin as they appear inside of the pan itself, but we'll get into that later on. Now again, there are 18 shades, and before we get into the swatching, I want us to have a moment to talk about this palette and why I'm a little bit irritated. Okay, there's 18 shades, 18. There are 18 shades, and with each palette, they come with user-friendly information. Now, I don't know if you guys take the time to read your palettes, but I do because that's my game. And if we look on the back, we see something interesting of the card box. It says that pressed pigments not to be used around the immediate eye area. Something quite interesting about this palette is that these are all pressed pigments, so I was a little bit concerned about that, but we turn on the back and we're given further information. Right along this line here, I'm gonna slow it down, but I'm also going to take the time to read it out to you so you guys have that information. Hopefully this focuses properly, but you will notice this. It says, attention, pressed pigments, bleeding heart, take the crown, high king, dungeon, scandal water, blood queen, wet jewel, vivid mood, pink magic, beauty sleep, and betrayal are not intended for use around the immediate eye area. Honeys, that's 11 of these 18 shades that they're like, listen, you are not about to sue us if this glitter gets in your eye and you go blind. So I thought that was very interesting because most of Jeffree Star's products are known for being completely eye safe, and this being marketed as an artistry palette as opposed to a regular eyeshadow palette was quite interesting, I guess, for legal purposes. But I feel like that is a tiny bit misleading, but that's just me. Let me know how you feel about that in the comment section down below. But let's just get into it because my eyes, oh, who needs eyes? The first shade that we're going into is Your Majesty, very consistent with regular Jeffree Star formula. It's very smooth and buttery. There is some fallout, so if you press too hard inside your palette, you will notice that you have that little bit of misgiving. And you know what? I'm actually going to swatch 5 of the shades on my forearm and then show you at the end what they're looking like, okay? So I actually lied to you and I swatched 6 shades as opposed to 5, and that is Wet Jewel, Royal Pain, Beauty Sleep, Deviant, Take the Crown, and Your Majesty. If you notice little dots above the finger swatches, these little dots are actually made by the brush, so you can see how the pigment transfers with using a brush. The next shades are Dungeon, Scandal Water, Sworn Enemy, Pink Magic, Bleeding Heart, and Executioner. Now, something worth noting, look at these shades, guys. So with Scandal Water, I actually had to pass my finger through this shade twice in order for the pigment to catch, and as you can see, there is some skipping. Additionally, Sworn Enemy was also difficult to show up on my skin tone, so if you are a medium to caramel skin tone, this shade is not going to be your friend necessarily. Also worth noting, take a look at how the brush ended up handling the shades. It had a very difficult time using the shade Bleeding Heart, that red tone towards the end, and also very difficult time picking up the shade Sworn Enemy. So that shade is not my friend, nor does it transfer well with using a brush. Again, this is my experience with using these colors, and your brushes may pick up different. And all of these swatches are made without the use of primer, so if you keep that in mind, they're looking pretty decent, okay? And the last 6 shades you are looking at right now are High King, Vivid Mood, Monarchy, Blood Queen, Vile Serpent, Betrayal. I'm gonna try to bring this in closer, but these are the 2 colors that I ended up having a little bit of difficulty with. That was Monarchy, and that is just basically because it blended in really well with my actual skin tone. And along with Vile Serpent, this shade skipped quite a bit. I wasn't a fan of that. And the payoff, the color payoff, it's not really that great, guys. And it was a little bit disconcerting, and then you can kind of see which shades ended up managing well with the brush. Those of you wondering, I did experience a little bit of staining from these shades, and again, they weren't resting on my skin that long, but if you scrub hard enough, it'll come off. So just be aware of that if you were wondering, but that is typical of purple shades, purples and reds. And the last thing I'm going to swatch for you all is this Extreme Frost in the shade Choking on Ice. This is actually my second Extreme Frost. I love the first one. To be honest with you, I think these are the last and only 2 that I'm going to get because these are gonna last forever, and I'm not a huge Jeffree Star collector, even though majority, actually almost all of my palettes are Jeffree Star, but as far as like highlights are concerned, I don't think I need any more than this. Also worth noting, this Extreme Frost, even though it is not marketed for the eyes, there is nothing on the packaging, either on the actual palette itself or the little context card, that indicate that this is not eye safe, which means that it's kind of weird that the highlighter is eye safe, but majority of the shades inside the palette aren't. So that's kind of annoying. I'm turning off the warm lighting, and this is what it looks like in its full glory close up. It's gorgeous. And you can see the silvery purple undertones. It has a very like opal sort of effect, and opal is like my favorite color story ever. I love opal. Oh my god, look at that. Oh my god. But this is how the Choking on Ice does on me. Oh my god, this is a moment. Look at this. It's like liquid. Oh my god. This is actually beautiful. I wouldn't recommend this for your day-to-day unless you like being loud, but it is gorgeous, and as you can see, that purple matches very well with my pajama pants. The thing that I like about this the most is like when you're looking at it head on, you don't see anything, and it's until you turn that you get all these glorious moments based off of how the glitter is hit. And it's like, Absolutely. Look at it's like a pink moment, purple, then it's just like nothing, then it's just like this icy feel. This is actually my favorite thing that Jeffree Star has actually made. Just for laughs, I'll also compare it to the one that I already have. So this is in the shade Lick My Glit. As you can see, they are very comparable as far as how loud the color is. I will say that the purple one is actually softer. Lick My Glit one is actually a little bit more flaky and chalky. Like you can see that the little sparkles will just flick off. One's a little bit softer and the other one as far as pigment is a little bit louder. So if you wanted to know if it's worth spending your ducats on, here's that, how they compare. So all in all, sweets, what are my thoughts in reference to this palette? To be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie, we've seen these colors before. We've seen this color story before, and usually what sets it apart is like Jeffree Star's formulas. But in this case, I did have a little bit of trouble for all my medium to dark tones. I had trouble with the shade Monarchy, I had trouble with the shade Sworn Enemy, and Royal Pain wasn't that bad. It's also very similar to my skin tone, and a lot of these shades actually read very similar. Some of them just have glitter on it, so you could just put your own glitter, like get one of those Stella glitter things and just wipe it over it. So overall, do I think this is worth the $52 price point? I have to take a hard no on this, guys. I'm gonna keep the palette. I'm not gonna return it because I've already ruined it. But that being said, I just want you guys to keep in mind there are other palettes like this, and if you are a collector, it's worth it. If you were looking for something that's a statement piece, like this is actually beautiful. It's very high quality. It's heavy. You can actually feel the quality. I feel like there's like wood under here. It feels like wood, but I can't be sure. But again, I'm going to reiterate to you guys, a lot of these colors have been seen before, and additionally, I'm going to remind you, 11 of these 18 shades are technically speaking not eye safe, and majority of the people buying this are going to be using this as eyeshadow. So I think that is worth noting. I'm surprised I haven't seen that many people talking about that, but I guess I'm the only one who reads these label things. So that's my thoughts, my troublesomes, my loves, my sweethearts. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know if you actually want to see me do an eye look with these very unsafe eyeshadows. We're out here. Jeffree's gonna cancel me. Oh my god. But you know what? I'd rather be truthful with you guys and let you know what my thoughts and opinions are on these matters, because when it comes to makeup, it's a true game out here, guys. We ain't playing games out here in these streets. We all trying to look cute. I love you so much, guys, and until next time,